One of the toughest things about kayak fishing is finding enough space for your tackle. Today, we're going to talk about my kayak tackle management system. My name is Wesley Littlefield with YourBassGuy.com, and let's get to it. If you have any questions about my management system, leave them in the comments below. Honestly, it's always evolving and changing. So just because this is the way it is today, tomorrow it might be a little bit different. If you've got questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, and my answer might be different tomorrow than it is today, but that's the beauty of kayak fishing. There's always something to tinker with. When I talk about tackle management system, I actually mean it's a system that I use. It's not just, hey, throw this all in this box and that's it. I actually use a system. So let me break it down. I try to keep all of my kayak stuff in one tote as far as fishing goes. I've got several boxes in here that you can see. I actually only take out 2 of these boxes. This one and this one. And these are the ones that I actually use and put in my kayak. I do keep my soft plastics. I use those too. So I take 3 boxes out. All my spare fishing stuff in these other boxes, the rest stays in here. It actually stays in the back of my truck locked up when I'm out on the water, so I'm not hauling around a bunch. And if I desperately needed something that I forgot, at least I've got it in my truck, so I don't have to completely pack up and leave. Although most of the time I try to make sure that I've got just a variety of everything in my 2 boxes on my kayak. That way I'm not forgetting anything. But typically I'll do my research and I'll know generally what they're biting on. Early spring, I know red crankbaits are going to be good, so I'm going to have a couple of those. Chatterbait maybe, some kind of jig. I've always got a jig ready to be tied on. Spinner baits, those are 3 or 4 that I've always got. And then of course I've got all kinds of terminal tackle for my soft plastics. And I've always got my terminal tackle for soft plastics because soft plastics are the go-to when things get tough. Let's go through a day on the water. Normally what I would do evening before, I would really try to see what the weather's gonna be and what I think the fish will be biting. I usually bring 4 rods, so I'll have 4 different baits tied on, so that way I'm not spending time on the water tying baits. I'm ready to go the day before. Then I'm gonna go through all my boxes and I'm gonna pick out the most common plastics I think I'm gonna use. We all have our favorites, and they usually don't rotate out a whole lot, but I'm gonna have my plastics. Like I said, I always keep my terminals, my hooks, and my weights already in my box so I don't rotate those out. And then I'm gonna rotate like some of the crankbaits depending on the time of the year. I'm always try to have a deep diving crankbait, a shallow running crankbait, and if I've got one in between, that's great. But usually I can at least cover deep water and shallow water with 2 different ones. And then the mid water I can cover with a deeper diving crankbait and just try to slow roll it. Tackle management. And that's the day, is just the day before is the prep work. Got everything I need ready in my 3 boxes that I take. I don't ever have to worry about getting to the ramp and shoving everything in there and wasting time. I've already done it the day before. Once I get to the ramp, all I gotta do is grab my 3 boxes, throw them in the kayak, and like I said, leave my tote in the truck, and that's it. Now that we've got step 1 out of the way, we're gonna talk about on the water management. This is probably the most important. You know, you can get by with having all kinds of boxes in your vehicle and strung out and everything, and they're not organized in a tote, but you can't get away with that in a kayak. Even my kayak, it's a bigger kayak and it's open floor plan, if you want to call it that, an open design, and I still have to have a system, at least another step in the system, to keep everything organized and fishable and not where it's just constantly getting in my way. And I do that by putting my boxes underneath my seat. My seat sits high enough up that I can, and my kayak's wide enough that I can slide my 2 big boxes underneath my seat and still easily access them, but they're yet they're out of the way. And then my soft plastics I can actually set beside my seat without worrying about knocking it off or anything, and know that it's gonna stay there, it's safe, and it's just reach down beside me, grab it, and I've got it. I absolutely love that, and that's why I actually chose the boxes that I chose. They're one-sided, but they're two-story, I guess is how you would say that. There's a top lid, and then you can close the top lid and lift up the bottom section, and it holds more stuff. It's just another way for me to cram more stuff into those boxes, but it's still compact enough to slide underneath my seat. Those boxes are just perfect for that, and you might have to figure out what box is going to be able to handle what you're going to be doing and be fit for your kayak. But like I said, these boxes are just perfect to slide underneath my seat, stay there. I don't got to worry about them sliding around everywhere. Another thing that a lot of people do, instead of putting it under their seat, they'll get a kayak crate. I'll show a clip here of my parents' crate. They actually made this themselves, so it's a real simple DIY crate. They went and got just an old plastic milk crate and got some rod holders and put the rod holders on there, but now they can actually use the crate to hold stuff, and it keeps it out of the way. My mom says she puts her tackle boxes in there. She'll put whatever odds and ends out there, and she's even said if it's cold enough that she'll just throw her fish back there when she's caught a few and bring them home. So that's another great way. Kayak crates are huge right now. I know Yak Attack has an excellent kayak crate. They've actually got two. They just came out with a Black Pack Pro, and it's supposed to be killer. I haven't got my hands on it yet, but I'm thinking about getting one. And if you can't spend the $100-some that it is, my parents made it. I think they found the crate, or you can go buy them for like $5-10 and then put your rod holders on there. And it's a real cheap way to do it. You can see also on my parents' kayak, they've got these pouches that hold pliers. They hold a little bit of everything that they need. It's right there by the seat, really accessible. I carry my spare rods behind me. That way they're not in the way. I do have 2 spots on my kayak to put rods, and they've got little rod tip protectors. And I don't like them there because they end up getting in the way. Either I accidentally hook myself, or I step on the rod, or I keep hitting it, whatever it is. I just don't like them laying on the side of my boat where they're gonna get in the way, essentially. I put them back behind me. They're out of the way for my cast. The way I have it set up, they're out of the way. Now, it took a lot of trial and error to actually get them where I wouldn't hit them on my back cast. Lastly, we'll move all the way from the back of the boat to the front of the boat. A lot of guys don't like having their net in front of them, because when you are fighting a fish and you lean forward, you're giving slack to the fish and it can actually come off the hook. With that cautionary tale, I still put my net at the front of the boat, so as I'm fighting the fish, I can lean forward and grab it. I do try to stay conscious of keeping the line tight. If I don't, you can lose the fish. But I'll keep my net right at the front. That way it's accessible. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is actually my stakeout pole and my paddle. Even if I'm running my trolling motor, I bring my paddle, and most of the time I actually keep my paddle across my lap just in case I need to make a quick adjustment, a real simple adjustment. I also carry a stakeout pole, and I've got 2 paddle holders, one on each side. So I use one for my stakeout pole and one for my paddle. It's a great shallow water anchor. On the side of the boat, it doesn't get in the way so much. It still will get in the way, but I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, because there's been days when I've fished that I don't think I would have caught a fish had I not had the stakeout pole. I keep it on the side just to keep it out of the way, and really that's the only place that I can store that. That's my tackle management system. I know there's others out there, but this is what works for me. I'm more than happy to share it with you. If you need to make a few tweaks to make it fit your style, go ahead. This is, it's your fishing. I've done that myself, taken different pieces from other people and made this my own. That's another beautiful thing about kayak fishing, is I get to do it. It's for me. I'm not here to do it for somebody else. This is my system. So If it doesn't fit you, then tweak it until it does fit you. If this helped you in any way, we've got other videos and we're constantly posting a new video every week. So like and subscribe this one to keep seeing more content like this. Thank you guys for watching and have an awesome, awesome day.